dad was looking handsome.
Terrific, too, Chris. Merci beaucoup tout le monde. Merci d'être là. Je suis très heureux d'être ici avec notre équipe conservatrice de Windsor. Une équipe qui se bat constamment pour défendre les emplois dans le secteur automobile. Évidemment, les conservateurs ont gagné tous les sièges pour la première fois à Windsor à cause de cette belle équipe. Nous voulons que le Canada soit abordable chez nous, sécuritaire chez nous et maître chez nous. C'est pour ça que nous travaillons pour une économie qui est autosuffisante en réduisant les taxes, les impôts, les déficits libéraux et en enlevant la bureaucratie pour nous permettre d'exporter nos ressources naturelles d'outre-mer. Et c'est pour ça que je m'en vais aux États-Unis, au Michigan, Texas et New York pour me battre pour nos travailleurs ici au Canada. Mais avant de commencer avec les substances, il faut reconnaître les 84 000 employés qui ont perdu leur emploi le mois dernier. On est très déçus de voir que ces familles n'ont pas de chèque de paie. Et mon message pour eux, c'est les conservateurs vont se battre pour vous. M. Carney a fait des grandes promesses électorales. Il a promis la meilleure économie dans le G7. Maintenant, on est la seule économie dans le G7 qui est en déclin, avec le deuxième pire taux de chômage parmi tous les pays du G7 et le pire inflation alimentaire. Et ça aussi, c'est intéressant. Il a promis des épiceries abordables. Mais l'inflation alimentaire, le coût des épiceries augmente plus rapidement ici au Canada que dans tous les autres pays du G7, 2 fois plus rapidement que quand il est devenu le premier ministre. Il a promis de augmenter de 100% la construction de logements, mais son propre agence immobilière indique que la construction est en baisse de 15%. Et nous voyons un plus grand déficit de commerce international le mois dernier. M. Carney est une grande illusion. Le pays est plus dangereux, plus dépendant et plus cher après 1 an de son gouvernement. Et c'est la pire économie dans le G7 après 10 ans du Parti libéral. Rien n'a changé depuis son arrivée au pouvoir dans votre vie. Tout coûte plus cher, l'économie est plus faible et il y a plus de danger. Mais les conservateurs vont travailler avec n'importe qui pour renverser cette tendance. C'est pour ça que nous allons continuer de faire avancer notre plan, un plan pour une loi sur la souveraineté canadienne qui va libérer nos ressources naturelles, qui va accumuler une réserve stratégique de pétrole et de minéraux critiques. Et c'est pour ça qu'on s'en va aux États-Unis aujourd'hui. On va aller à Détroit aujourd'hui. On va rencontrer des représentants de leur législature et, de plus important, des gens d'affaires de Ford et GM pour parler de notre secteur automobile. Notre proposition, c'est de retourner à une relation, un pacte d'automobile qui nous permettrait d'échanger les voitures sans tarif. C'est ça notre but et dimanche, on va présenter un plan ici encore à Windsor pour réaliser cet objectif. Après quoi, je vais aller au Texas pour parler de notre secteur énergétique. Finalement, je m'en vais à New York afin de parler de notre économie pour attirer l'investissement et d'encourager la communauté d'affaires dans la capitale financière des États-Unis de supporter le Canada et un libre-échange à travers nos frontières. C'est ça notre but, parce que nous sommes d'abord et avant tout les Canadiens. Nous sommes fiers de notre pays et nous voulons nous battre pour les Canadiens et Canadiennes. Nous voulons que le pays soit abordable chez nous, sécuritaire chez nous et maître chez nous, et nous travaillons ainsi. Thank you very much, everybody, for being here. It's an honor to be with the incredible conservative Windsor team. Of course, we won every seat in Windsor in the last election with great MPs like Kathy Borelli, Harb Gill, and Chris Lewis, who are fighting for our auto workers every day and in every way. And that's why the four of us are headed north to Detroit. I know that's counterintuitive.
You're right.
Going north to the United States in order to meet with auto industry executives, state senators and representatives, and other business interests to fight for tariff-free automobile trade across this river and across our border. We will be making the case that both Detroit and Windsor are stronger when we trade together. And Sunday, we will be back here in Windsor to make a proposal to renew and rebuild the auto pact with a plan that will allow both the United States and Canada to grow their domestic production and repatriate our industry to our country so that our people have paychecks and our national industrial base is stronger than ever. These are all things that Mark Carney promised a year ago, and he has not delivered. It was all an illusion. Let's look at Mr. Carney's real record after a year in office. He promised the strongest economy in the G7. He's given us the only shrinking economy in the G7. And we have the second highest unemployment in the G7. Today we got the terrible news that 84,000 Canadians lost their jobs last month, a devastating jobs report, the result of in part of Mark Carney's liberal failures and continued job-killing liberal policies that have made our economy the weakest in the G7. We are saddened to see that Canada is in the weakest position after a year of Mark Carney, because it is true, we do have global problems, and we cannot discount or try to control what President Trump does. But all the countries are facing those tariffs. None of them have a shrinking economy like we do under Mark Carney here in Canada. He promised that he would give us affordable food, and a year later, food inflation has doubled. We have the highest food inflation in the G7. It can't be all blamed on global factors when all the other G7 countries are seeing their food prices rise at a slower rate. He promised he would double home building, and his own housing agency says that home building is dropping by 15%. He promised that he would move quickly to build projects, yet he's not yet given the green light to a single pipeline. His special projects office has not approved a project of any kind. And, of course, he's not removed a single anti-development liberal law or regulation. It is still effectively impossible to get a pipeline built, and it is illegal to ship oil off the northwest coast of BC. He promised to spend less, yet outside of COVID, government spending is at 30-year highs and the deficit is the biggest in history. Everything Mark Carney promised was a grand illusion, and your life is not getting better. Your life is more expensive, your country is more dangerous and more dependent than ever before. But the good news is we can turn it around. We can turn rhetoric into reality, and that's what Conservatives are proposing. We want to make this country affordable at home, safe at home, and strong at home, so that we have unbreakable leverage abroad. We want to cut taxes on work, investment, home building, and energy. We want to pass a Canadian Sovereignty Act that will clear the way to build pipelines, mines, LNG plants, export terminals. That will ensure that we can serve our own market, we can power our own paychecks, and fuel our friends abroad. We want to build up a strategic energy and mineral reserve that can leverage even more strength in our negotiating south of the border. And we want to fight for tariff-free access to the automobile, steel, aluminum, and lumber markets. Using the leverage we build up, we will fight for this tariff-free access for all of our people. On Sunday, I'll be announcing a new auto pact proposal that will protect the jobs of our country. Let's be clear. Mark Carney's idea that he's going to replace the American market with China or other overseas markets for automobiles is an illusion. It is impossible. Almost all of our automobile exports go to the United States. There is no replacing that market. We need to regain access to the United States market with a plan that will be good for Canada and realistic on the other side of the river. And we have a plan that will allow both our countries to grow our production and repatriate our industry to this country. So As always, we put our country first. We work every day in every way to make Canada stronger, safer, and more affordable at home so that we can have unbreakable leverage abroad. Thank you very much, and I now welcome your questions.
Thank you. We'll now take questions. Please identify yourself and your outlet. One question, one follow-up.
Hello, Mr. Poilievre. Taylor Kimball with the Windsor Star. How will your auto pact proposal benefit residents, auto workers, and the greater community of Windsor and Essex County?
Thank you. Very important question. In 2 days, I'll be back here to lay out the specifics, but effectively what it does is it eliminates it would align our regulations with the U.S. It would take the GST off Canadian-made automobiles, and it would make a realistic proposal to eliminate tariffs for the sale of Canadian automobiles in the United States of America. And it will do this, I say it's realistic because it will do this in a way that will be advantageous to both Americans and Canadians. And that is why I believe we can get the Americans to accept this proposal.
I understand you're making a trip north of the border.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Have you already had any conversations with American counterparts in these sectors, and is there an appetite for what your proposal suggests?
We have been speaking to American businesses and legislators. I have not given them the specific proposal yet because I want Canadians to hear it first. But we have carefully studied what the American auto industry is looking to achieve. And we have calibrated a plan that will allow us to repatriate and massively increase our auto production on this side of the border, while at the same time making it attractive to the United States on the other side of the border. And that is why we believe this is not only a realistic plan to rebuild our auto sector, it is literally the only hope of keeping our auto sector in Canada.
Hi, Emma Loop from CBC Windsor. Thank you for taking our question.
Sure.
You mentioned that you're meeting with representatives from Ford and GM. Can you explain who exactly from those companies you're meeting with, and is there a reason you're not meeting with anyone from Stellantis?
The Stellantis was merely a scheduling issue, but we are meeting with the other two, and we'll be meeting with their executives to talk about how we can grow the industry on both sides of the border. And then we'll also be meeting with some legislators, 2 from Michigan and 1 from Ohio, who share our interests in the auto sector and in energy.
And my other question is about the new Gordie Howe Bridge. The Bridge Authority announced this week what the toll rates are going to be. They also gave a newish opening date. They previously said early this year. Now they're saying this spring. Are you satisfied with those toll rates? And do you have any sort of other reaction to that news?
Well, I think we have to ask the Liberal government why they're so far behind and so much over budget on completing this project. At the end of the day, this is another example of Liberal cost overruns and missed deadlines. This bridge should have been completed years ago. The government of Canada put out a press release saying that it would be done in 2020. Well, it's now 2026, and we're still waiting. So it's time for the Liberals to move from illusions to results, rhetoric to reality. This bridge was announced well over a decade ago. It's time to open the bridge and get the traffic flowing.
Hi, Maureen with Blackburn News. You said you're going to present this new auto pact. Can you tell me what your approach is to negotiations when the other side hasn't seemed to be very open to those negotiations?
Look, what we have to do is build up leverage. Nobody can control President Trump. Not me, not Mr. Carney, not anyone else. But what we can do is control what we do here on this side of the border. We have to build up our strength and leverage at home so that we have more leverage abroad. So, for example, I'm proposing we build up a strategic energy and mineral reserve and make that available to allies with whom we have favorable trade terms. I'm proposing that we massively increase our energy production, something that is extremely important to the United States, especially now with what's happening in the Strait of Hormuz, and that would be able to reduce gas prices on the American side of the border. We are going to massively build up our military, and the amount that we spend of that purchasing U.S. weapon systems will be linked to the market access we get. My approach is to build up as much leverage as possible and then use that leverage to get what we want, which is tariff-free access for our autos, lumber, aluminum, steel, and other Canadian products. True.
There is a push here. You mentioned that it was a blue wave in this region last election. There's now a push here to get the next Conservative convention in Windsor. What are your thoughts on that?
Hey, that's a great idea, eh? What do you think?
Please.
Okay, but I have to have the agreement of my Windsor MPs. What do you think?
All in favor.
Okay, the Windsor MPs are on side.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful here.
It is.
We love Windsor. It's a wonderful, you might just have convinced us. So I hope that the tourism department at City Hall gives you a royalty if we decide to come here.
Good morning, Rob Hindy from AIM 800. The plan you're announcing on Sunday, did you talk to unions that represent auto workers? Are they a part of this process as well?
Yes, we've been in regular consultation with the unions that are fighting for the jobs. About 3 months ago now, I think it was, I met with Unifor in Oshawa. Our labor critic, Kyle Seaback, has been in regular contact with Unifor and also with the automakers themselves and their representatives. So we spent a lot of months and a lot of time calibrating this plan, and we hope that it will have support. I can't speak for Unifor. I don't know exactly what they'll say, but I think they should be supportive, because this is not only the best hope, but the only hope. I just say this. Mark Carney has us on track now to lose the entire auto sector, because he effectively has waved the white flag and conceded that he's not going to be able to get tariff-free access for our autos. Almost all our auto exports go to the United States of America. We need to get tariff-free access to that market on favorable terms in a new auto pact, and we're the only party that has a plan to do that.
So then after Sunday, when you announce the plan, what are, I guess, the following steps after that to get things moving?
Well, I'm gonna share it with Mr. Carney and encourage him to steal my ideal, because I really don't care who gets the credit. I want to save the jobs of the amazing Canadian auto workers in Windsor, Oshawa, Brampton, and elsewhere across our great country. We need an auto sector. It is vital to our national security to have a manufacturing base, and I'm prepared to work with anybody from any party to save these jobs. All right.
Why not? How are you? Nice to see you again. Welcome to Windsor again.
Great to be back.
Just curious, how important was it for you to have, I know they're not your thugs and they won't be your security or anything, but just to have the MPs
Actually,
with you.
Harb is my security.
Is he? Well,
Look
he
at
used
this
to
guy.
be a cop, right?
Look at
So
these
I get
pipes.
that.
He's a former cop.
I know.
How many years did you serve?
29 years.
29 years.
There you go.
So
but no, how important is it for you to have them with you in your cause going across the border today?
Well, very important. They know the file better than I do. They know the ins and outs of every single parts supplier, manufacturing facility. They can walk up and down the assembly lines and talk to people by name. So they know the real human impact of this industry. They know the technical background, and they will be at the table today with the big automakers fighting for every single Windsor and Canadian job. All right.
Thank you. This concludes today's event.
Okay. Thanks very much, everyone. Many blessings.